So, Stranger Things season 3, very 80s, or very 80s. I was there, including all the, I mean, I want to say they were enhancements to the period, but there are so many flaws in this revisionist history. But the product placements, which were critical at this point in the 80s, especially thanks to movies like E.T. Um, yeah, like Steve would admit that. Anyways, the one thing I was actually, the entire pitch made about the new Coke, which was pretty much very accurate and hardly ever heard, which was almost word for word my argument when I planned the new Coke campaign and the Coke Classic return. That was part of the whole plan. The Coke Classic name was selected before they even decided on a formula for new Coke. But that's another story. The other things that you sort of don't see as much, like you can tell it's a tab can or a this can, but you can't see the name. They're only specifically did Coke, Classic, and New Coke. And that one product placement. There are other things that should have been in there more. I'm not sure if they just did it for the money. Coke pays a lot. Or not. Or whether it was for the flavor of the period. One of the bigger problems I have is this whole controversy about the smoking. Now, I lived in the 80s and the 70s. And smoking was integral. As a matter of fact, when you watch a show that doesn't have the smoking in it, in the smoke-filled rooms, the fact that the percentage of the population that smoked when you could smoke indoors is realistic and necessary. It doesn't look real with the way they have the smoking. You don't even see smoke with these cigarettes. You just see people holding cigarettes that don't smoke. It doesn't look real. It destroys an entire atmosphere. It's distraction. It's a subliminal distraction, but it's a distraction. You can't revise history. It's just having something that used to be done existing in history doesn't mean that it's acceptable. I know, it's really hard to get into all that. Otherwise, they didn't really push, there was a weird unnecessary character identity issue that may or may not, it was somewhat, more restrained than in a lot of other shows where everybody would have, the character, it worked the way it was handled, done well. As far as the actual show itself and the primary theme, a lot of holes, a lot of rushing to get everything done in the 8 episodes. It doesn't feel natural paced in a lot of places. There's a lot of dragging here and then a lot of rushing there. It's very poorly planned out. One of the main complaints I saw before I watched it was so much sex. Zero. How can zero be too much? A few kisses? I know some prudes, but even prudes kiss. PDA is a different story than kissing, but still, it's some kissing. There's no real heavy physical intimacy. There's emotional intimacy. There's emotional distance, normal things. But there you have it. It is an advancement. It is a natural growth. They're pretty much staying to their actual ages. They're not 40-year-olds playing 15-year-olds like in a lot of other shows, which is a liability, because of all those producers wanting to. Anyways, we will put that there. some explicable jumps, but the jumps were necessary because, time schemes had to match the ages of the growing children, which is a problem when you actually use children who are the right age. They're not frozen in time like a petite 25-year-old. They are actually growing. And anyone who would complain about that, yeah, it's a huge spurt. From between 12 and 15, amazing things can happen in a short period of time. So, there you have it. Yes, it's a natural growth. It leaves us to a season 4 possibility, plausible. And there's so much more that could have been done than just the one minor thing. There's like all this dead time. Oh yeah, well, we won, so we're just gonna walk away and close our minds to what happened instead of, thinking about stuff, which it never happens. If you think in a horror movie, there is no horror movie. Onward and upward.